They show you the results. But they never show you the cost. They show you the successful man standing tall, composed, respected. What they don't show you is the silence he endured. The nights he questioned himself. The moments he chose discipline over comfort, and integrity over approval. Success is not built in public. It is built when no one is watching. And the most dangerous illusion is believing that success makes a man strong. It doesn't. It reveals who he already is. Behind every truly successful man is a series of choices most people avoid. Solitude instead of distraction. Self-mastery instead of validation. Calm instead of chaos. This is not a story about money. It's not about power. And it's definitely not about image. This is about the quiet truth behind men who rise. And what it really takes to remain whole when everything else is gained. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where you will find valuable lessons and tips to help you build a truly lasting love. In today's video, we will explore the secret behind successful men, unveiling little-known truths, with real stories and insight. Don't miss the advice that can change the way you perceive and live in love. You will definitely feel more comfortable when you find a quiet place and put on your headphones. Let yourself relax and be ready to receive the positive messages in today's video. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's start together. Part 1. The Silent Foundation, Why Successful Men Are Built in Solitude. No one tells you this at the beginning. They show you the results, the wealth, the calm confidence, the woman by his side, the respect in his eyes. But they never show you the silence that built him. A truly successful man is not forged in applause. He is forged in rooms where no one is watching. I learned this the hard way. When I was younger, I believed success was loud. I chased validation, attention, admiration, from women, from society, from people who didn't even know themselves. I thought love meant being needed. I thought power meant being seen. I was wrong. The first secret behind accomplished men is this. They are comfortable being alone, not because they failed to connect, but because they learned to connect with themselves first. Stoicism teaches us a brutal truth. If you cannot sit with your own thoughts, you are a slave to distraction. And a man who is a slave to distraction will never master his destiny. Most men fear solitude because solitude removes all illusions. In silence, there is no audience. No compliments. No external reassurance. Only your weaknesses staring back at you. That's why most people stay busy. Noise is a drug. Social media is a sedative. Relationships become emotional anesthesia. But the man who becomes truly powerful does the opposite. He withdraws. Not to escape the world, but to understand it. And more importantly, to understand himself. Why detachment is the beginning of real strength. Stoic love does not mean emotional coldness. It means emotional sovereignty. A successful man does not let emotions dictate his actions, especially in love. This is the second truth few are willing to accept. Men who rise learn to detach before they learn to love. Not detach from people, but detach from neediness. From the desperate urge to be chosen. From the fear of being abandoned. From the illusion that another person can complete him. Here is what most men don't realize. The moment you need a woman to feel whole, you lose leverage, not just in the relationship, but in life. Women sense this instantly. Not logically. Energetically. A man who needs approval leaks power. A man who is grounded within himself becomes magnetic, without trying. Stoicism teaches mastery over desire, not suppression of it. You still feel attraction. You still love deeply. But you are not controlled by it. That's the difference. A successful man can walk away, not because he lacks emotion, but because he values self-respect over attachment. And paradoxically, that is what makes him unforgettable. The discipline nobody applauds. Let me tell you something unpopular. Most successful men are boring when no one is watching. They wake up early. They train when they don't feel like it. They work when motivation is absent. They say no more than they say yes. There is nothing glamorous about this. But discipline is the invisible architecture of freedom. Stoics understood this centuries ago. You do not control outcomes. You control habits. The man who masters his habits masters his future. This discipline extends into love. He doesn't chase chaos. He doesn't confuse intensity with intimacy. He doesn't romanticize emotional turbulence. He chooses peace, even if peace means walking alone for a while. That scares people. Because peace requires accountability. And most would rather be emotionally entertained than emotionally evolved. Why successful men are misunderstood. Here's another hidden truth. The higher a man climbs, the fewer people truly understand him. Not because he thinks he's better. But because his priorities change. He stops explaining himself. He stops arguing with opinions. He stops proving his worth. Stoicism teaches. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. And so he does. This silence is often misinterpreted as arrogance. His boundaries are mistaken for coldness. His calm is mistaken for lack of passion. But in reality, he feels more deeply than most. He just refuses to be ruled by emotion. In love, this means he doesn't cling. He doesn't manipulate. He doesn't beg. He offers presence, not dependency. And presence, when it comes from inner stability, is rare. The first pillar of true success. So if you ask me what the first real secret behind accomplished men is, I'll tell you this. They build themselves before they build a life with someone else. They don't rush love to escape loneliness. They don't sacrifice purpose for comfort. They don't abandon their principles for approval. They understand a fundamental Stoic truth. If you are not whole alone, you will be fragmented together. This is not romantic advice. It's survival advice. Because the world doesn't reward emotional fragility disguised as sensitivity. It rewards grounded men who know who they are, with or without applause, with or without a woman beside them. And that foundation. That silent, disciplined, emotionally sovereign foundation. Is what everything else stands on. Have you ever realized that, in love, moments of silence are sometimes more powerful than 1,000 words? Because in silence, we can hear our heartbeat more clearly and feel the presence of the other person more deeply. Here, I want to explore with you that strength, peace, and stability even when love goes through challenges. If you feel that these shares bring you something positive, please click like to support. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, do it now, so you don't miss any insight into love and maturity. I also hope to hear your story. What is the most valuable lesson that love has taught you? Please share in the comments section so we can learn and be inspired together. Come on, let's move on to the next part with a more prepared mind. Part 2. How successful men love without losing themselves. Most men love from fear. Fear of losing. Fear of being replaced. Fear of not being enough. That kind of love is loud, demanding, and fragile. Successful men love differently. Not because they feel less. But because they have learned how to remain intact while loving deeply. This is one of the most misunderstood truths about accomplished men. They do not give their center away. Not to a woman, not to a relationship, not even to love itself. And that is exactly why their love feels powerful. The illusion that destroys most relationships. Let me be brutally honest. Most men enter relationships hoping to be saved. Saved from loneliness. Saved from self-doubt. Saved from their own lack of direction. They don't say it out loud, but it shows in their behavior. Over-explaining. Over-giving. Over-investing too early. Losing themselves slowly, then wondering why attraction dies. Stoicism exposes the flaw here. Love is not meant to be a crutch. When you use love to escape yourself, it will eventually turn against you. Successful men understand something early. I am responsible for my own fulfillment. A woman may walk beside me, but she does not carry me. This mindset changes everything. Presence over possession. Here is a secret women rarely say out loud. They don't crave control. They crave presence. But presence cannot exist where anxiety lives. A man who is constantly afraid of losing her is never truly present. His mind is always negotiating, adjusting, monitoring. Successful men remove this tension. Not because they don't care. But because they trust themselves enough to know. If she chooses to stay, good. If she chooses to leave, I remain whole. This inner stability creates emotional safety. And emotional safety is far more seductive than emotional intensity. Stoic love is calm, not chaotic. Grounded, not dramatic. Quietly confident. And that calm becomes addictive. Why detachment creates deeper connection. This will sound paradoxical, but it's true. The less a man clings, the deeper a woman feels him. Detachment is often mistaken for indifference. But stoic detachment is not coldness. It is the ability to say, I want you, but I don't need you to survive. That difference is everything. Need creates pressure. Desire creates attraction. Successful men choose desire. They don't rush emotional fusion. They allow space. They allow mystery. And in that space, intimacy grows naturally. Because intimacy is not forced. It is invited. Boundaries, the silent language of self-respect. One of the clearest markers of a high-value man is not how much he gives, but what he refuses to tolerate. Successful men do not negotiate their core values for affection. They don't stay in disrespect hoping it will turn into love. They don't tolerate emotional manipulation disguised as passion. Stoicism teaches. What you allow is what will continue. So they choose boundaries, calmly, without threats, without drama. And here's the irony. Women may test boundaries. But they feel safest with men who have them. Because boundaries signal strength. Not dominance. Not control. But self-respect. Love without losing purpose. Another hidden truth. Successful men never abandon their mission for love. They integrate love into their life. They do not replace their life with love. Purpose comes first. Not because love is unimportant. But because without purpose, a man becomes emotionally dependent. And emotional dependency suffocates attraction. Stoic men understand. Their work, discipline, growth, and inner code are non-negotiable. Love must align with that. Not compete with it. This creates a natural polarity. He leads his life. She chooses to join it. And choice, not obligation, is where real desire lives. Emotional depth without emotional chaos. Here's what people get wrong about Stoic men. They assume calm means shallow. Nothing could be further from the truth. Stoic men feel deeply. They simply refuse to dramatize their emotions. They don't use jealousy as proof of love. They don't confuse suffering with commitment. They don't equate volatility with passion. Their love is steady. And in a world addicted to emotional spikes, steadiness feels rare, almost intoxicating. When problems arise, they don't explode. They respond. When emotions surface, they observe them, not obey them. This emotional maturity creates trust. And trust is the foundation of lasting intimacy. The second pillar of true success. If part 1 was about building yourself in solitude, then part 2 reveals the next truth. A successful man loves without self-abandonment. He does not disappear into relationships. He does not lose his identity to keep affection. He does not fear walking away from what compromises his inner order. And because of that, his love feels rare. His presence feels solid. His absence is felt. Not because he tries to be unforgettable, but because he never betrays himself to be loved. Part 3. Pain, rejection, and loss, the fire that shapes great men. No accomplished man escapes pain. If someone tells you otherwise, he is either lying, or he has never built anything real. Pain is not a detour on the path to success. It is the path. The difference between men who rise and men who collapse is not pain itself. It is how they use it. Why pain is the most honest teacher. Comfort lies. Pain does not. Pain strips illusions. Pain reveals character. Pain forces clarity. When a man is rejected, by a woman he loved, a dream he chased, or a version of himself he believed in, something breaks. But here is the secret few men understand. What breaks is not always weakness. Often, it is delusion. The fantasy of being chosen without earning it. The illusion of love without self-mastery. The belief that effort alone guarantees reward. Stoicism teaches acceptance of reality, not bitterness toward it. And pain is reality speaking without filters. The feminine rejection that changes a man forever. Let's talk about the rejection men rarely admit still lives inside them. The woman who left. The woman who chose someone else. The woman who said, "I don't feel it anymore." This kind of loss hits deeper than pride. It questions a man's worth. Most men respond in one of two ways. They harden, becoming resentful, cynical, emotionally shut down. They collapse, chasing validation, begging for closure, losing dignity. Great men choose a third path. They go inward. They ask the question few dare to face. What in me was ungrounded? Not to blame themselves, but to understand themselves. Pain becomes a mirror. And mirrors, while uncomfortable, are honest. Stoic alchemy, turning wounds into structure. Stoicism does not teach men to suppress pain. It teaches them to refine it. Pain becomes discipline. Rejection becomes humility. Loss becomes direction. Instead of numbing themselves with distractions, successful men sit with discomfort. They feel it fully. Then they build from it. They train harder. They work deeper. They sharpen boundaries. They remove emotional dependencies. Pain stops being an enemy. It becomes raw material. Why weak men romanticize suffering, and strong men don't. There is a dangerous myth circulating today. That suffering itself makes you profound. It doesn't. Unprocessed pain makes you reactive, bitter, unpredictable. Great men do not glorify suffering. They integrate it. They don't tell stories to gain sympathy. They don't weaponize their trauma. They don't make pain their identity. Stoicism teaches responsibility. What happened to you is not your fault. What you do with it is your responsibility. This mindset separates men who evolve from men who repeat cycles. Emotional control is forged, not given. Here is something society won't tell you. Emotional control is not natural. It is earned through suffering. Men who have never lost rarely develop depth. Men who have never been rejected often lack humility. Men who have never faced loneliness confuse confidence with arrogance. Pain humbles the ego. And once the ego is humbled, clarity emerges. A man who has survived emotional loss no longer panics at uncertainty. He no longer fears silence. He no longer chases reassurance. Because he knows. I survived worse. That calm is not arrogance. It is experience. Why women sense a man who has been through fire. This is subtle, but real. Women are not attracted to pain. They are attracted to the stability that comes after it. A man who has processed loss carries himself differently. He listens without defensiveness. He doesn't flinch at emotional conversations. He doesn't collapse under tension. His presence feels solid. Not performative. Not needy. Just grounded. That groundedness is not taught in books. It is earned through storms. The third pillar of true success. If solitude built the foundation, Part 1. And self-respecting love defined connection, Part 2. Then pain does something even deeper. It burns away who you thought you were. So who you truly are can emerge. Great men are not fearless. They are familiar with fear. They are not emotionless. They have simply learned which emotions deserve obedience, and which do not. They do not avoid pain. They extract wisdom from it. And that wisdom becomes composure, clarity, and quiet strength. Love is actually like a mirror reflecting the inner self. When we are calm enough, we will realize that every challenge, every silence carries a valuable lesson. And that is what I want to convey through each story on this channel. If you feel that these shares bring value, please leave a like to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, because who knows, one day, just a small idea from these videos can change the way you look at love, at yourself. Let's continue with me, because there are many interesting things waiting for you to discover. Part 4. Power, money, and masculine integrity, what success really costs. Everyone wants the rewards of success. Very few are willing to pay its price. Money looks attractive from a distance. Power looks seductive from the outside. Freedom looks glamorous on social media. But once you step inside that world, you realize something unsettling. Success doesn't just give, it takes. And what it takes first is your integrity, if you let it. The first lie about money. The lie is simple. Once I have enough money, I'll finally be at peace. That is not how it works. Money amplifies who you already are. If you are disciplined, money gives you leverage. If you are insecure, money gives you louder insecurity. If you lack boundaries, money exposes it faster. Stoicism teaches a harsh truth. External wealth does not create inner order. Only men with inner order can handle external power without becoming corrupted by it. I've seen men gain money and lose themselves. I've seen relationships rot under abundance. I've seen men trade their values for comfort, and call it growth. That is not success. That is slow erosion. Power reveals, it doesn't transform. Power doesn't change men. It reveals them. Give a weak man power, and he becomes tyrannical. Give a needy man power, and he becomes manipulative. Give an undisciplined man power, and he self-destructs. Successful men understand this early. If you don't master yourself, power will master you. That is why Stoic men pursue control inward before they pursue influence outward. They regulate impulses. They restrain ego. They choose restraint over excess. Not because they lack desire, but because they refuse to be owned by it. Why successful men become more selective, not more available. Here's a reality few people talk about. As a man rises, his time becomes scarce. And scarcity forces brutal decisions. You cannot give everyone access to you. You cannot explain yourself to everyone. You cannot maintain every relationship. Stoic men do not apologize for this. They understand. Every yes is a hidden no. They become selective, with women, friends, business partners, even family dynamics. Not out of arrogance. Out of necessity. Because misplaced loyalty is one of the fastest ways to lose everything you've built. Integrity is the only asset that scales. Money can be lost. Status can disappear. Power can be taken. Integrity is the only asset that compounds. Stoic men understand that reputation is not built on image. It is built on consistency. They do what they say they will do. They walk away from deals that violate their code. They accept short-term loss to protect long-term self-respect. This is not moral superiority. It is strategic survival. Because once you cross certain lines, you cannot uncross them. And men who lose their inner code often gain success. But live with quiet self-contempt. Love under power, the hidden risk. This is uncomfortable, but necessary to say. Money and power distort romantic dynamics. They attract attention, not always affection. They invite admiration, not always respect. Stoic men stay vigilant here. They don't confuse access with loyalty. They don't mistake desire for devotion. They don't let their resources become their identity. They watch behavior, not words. And they choose partners who respect the man, not the lifestyle. Because losing clarity in love is one of the most expensive mistakes a powerful man can make. The loneliness that comes with authority. Leadership is isolating. The higher you rise, the fewer people tell you the truth. The fewer people challenge you. The fewer people see you as human. This is why many powerful men self-destruct. They replace honesty with admiration. They replace intimacy with convenience. They replace reflection with indulgence. Stoicism offers a safeguard. Daily self-examination. A quiet audit of thoughts, actions, motives. Did I act from principle today, or impulse? Did I choose ease over excellence? Did I trade integrity for advantage? Men who ask these questions stay grounded. Men who don't eventually fall, publicly or privately. The fourth pillar of true success. If pain forged depth, Part 3. Then power tests character. The fourth truth is this. Success demands a stronger internal code than failure ever did. Without it, money corrupts. Without it, power isolates. Without it, love becomes transactional. Stoic men understand the real goal is not dominance over others. It is sovereignty over self. And that sovereignty is expensive. But nothing costs more than losing yourself while winning everything else. Part 5. Legacy, love, and a calm mind, what remains when everything is stripped away? In the end, everything is stripped away. Titles fade. Money changes hands. Bodies age. Attention moves on. What remains is not what you owned, but who you became. This is the final truth successful men eventually face. If you remove wealth, status, and validation, would you still respect the man in the mirror? Stoicism is not obsessed with death. It is obsessed with clarity. Because clarity only comes when you accept impermanence. Why legacy is not what most men think. Legacy is often misunderstood. It's not fame. It's not how many people know your name. It's not even what you leave behind materially. Legacy is how people feel in your absence. Did your presence bring order, or chaos? Did your love feel safe, or unstable? Did your leadership create strength, or dependency? A Stoic man thinks long-term. He asks, what kind of man am I shaping through my daily choices? Because legacy is built quietly, in moments no one records. Love at the highest level. Here's something no one tells young men. The highest form of love is calm. Not dramatic. Not obsessive. Not consuming. Calm. A love where trust replaces anxiety. Respect replaces control. Choice replaces fear. A Stoic man does not love to be needed. He loves to be chosen. And he chooses in return, deliberately, consciously, without illusion. This kind of love is rare because it requires two whole people. Not two wounds leaning on each other. Not two egos competing. But two grounded individuals walking side by side. Why inner peace is the ultimate status symbol. You can spot a man who has made peace with himself instantly. He is not rushed. He is not reactive. He is not desperate to prove anything. His words are measured. His silence is comfortable. His presence is steady. Inner peace is expensive. It costs. Letting go of ego. Releasing old resentments. Accepting what cannot be controlled. Forgiving without forgetting. But once earned, nothing external can take it away. Stoics knew this long ago. If you want to be invincible, make peace with loss. The final test of a man. The final test is not how much you achieve. It's how you live after achievement. Do you become softer, or more arrogant? Do you simplify, or indulge? Do you mentor, or dominate? Great men turn inward again at this stage. They strip life down to essentials. Health. Purpose. Meaningful connection. Inner alignment. They stop chasing more. And start protecting what matters. The calm mind is the real victory. A calm mind is not passive. It is alert, disciplined, aware. It doesn't react blindly to praise or criticism. It doesn't chase highs or run from lows. It observes, decides, acts. This calm is not given by success. It is earned through solitude, pain, discipline, integrity, self-honesty. And once a man has it, he is free. Not because life is easy, but because nothing owns him anymore. The final pillar of true success. If you remember nothing else from this series, remember this. A successful man is not measured by what he conquers, but by what no longer controls him. Not fear. Not desire. Not approval. Not loss. When everything external is stripped away, and a man can still sit quietly with himself. That is success. That is strength. That is Stoic love. Conclusion. When all illusions fall away, one truth remains. Successful men are not built by luck, talent, or applause. They are built by choices made in silence. Behind every composed exterior is a man who learned to sit with discomfort. Behind every calm decision is a history of pain that was not wasted. Behind every deep love is a man who refused to abandon himself for approval. Real success is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not need to convince anyone. It is visible in restraint. In emotional control. In the ability to walk away from what violates inner order, even when it is tempting. Stoic men understand something most never will. The world can give you everything and still take your soul. Unless you protect it. That is why true success always begins inward. Money may come and go. Status may rise and fall. Relationships may change. But a man who has mastered himself remains steady through all of it. His love is not chaotic, it is chosen. His strength is not aggressive, it is contained. His presence is not demanding, it is grounding. In a world addicted to noise, he becomes rare. And rarity creates gravity. So if there is one final lesson behind successful men, it is this. Build the man first. Everything else is secondary. Because when a man owns his mind, his values, and his emotional center, nothing external can truly control him. And that is the quiet power few ever reach, but all secretly recognize. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Hopefully the sharing about love and lessons from this video will help you have new thoughts and find empathy. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I'm happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.